What's up, guys, and welcome back for another EVE Online solo mining episode 85. I am out here today in the Venture. We're going to be doing some Veldspar mining here. A lot of the mining I've been doing in the Venture lately has been to support some manufacturing for that series that I'm doing. So we're really focusing on dense Veldspar, concentrated Veldspar, things like that, and just kind of stacking as much as we can. Otherwise, haven't been doing a whole lot lately. The systems that I've been operating in have been hit a lot with pirate strongholds. So my day in mining is usually logging in, seeing if there's a pirate stronghold, if there is, and relocating and kind of maybe changing the plan out a little bit. But I figured in this episode we'll just kind of chill, work on filling up this venture, maybe answer a few questions, and kind of just enjoy the whole mining gameplay and everything. Now, this fit is usually meant for low sec. That's why it has a warp core stabilizer on it. If you do end up running a venture in high sec, you really don't need that. You can take that off. It gives you access to all your drones when fighting rats, and also just you can put a mining laser upgrade on there to bring your cubic meters per second up. And I usually like to keep the one venture fitted like this. I'll put this fit in the description, but just so you know, if you're not interested in low sec or anything like that, you can swap that warp core out. Now, even though I have like Orca, Porpoise, I have all the alts to do like pretty much every configuration you can probably imagine, and really get a lot of good yield, I still enjoy taking the venture out because sometimes it's just very low maintenance. You can choose to do like I'm doing here and orbit your rock, or you can just kind of put your nose right on it. Now the venture is not very big, so a lot of the rocks you'll fill up way before you even destroy or deplete them. So you don't really have to have necessarily a lot of rocks targeted or planned out like you would with the Mackinac or whatever. But there's a little downtime when you're dropping things off, and we're not really concerned too much about compression here. We're actually going to mine this and fill this venture up and then take it all the way to where we're going to be doing manufacturing, which that station we're going to be doing NPC manufacturing, because it's a solo kind of manufacturing thing, where we're trying to like not necessarily be reliant on corporations or citadels or anything like that. So now, I normally mine in a 0.5 system, which is the lowest security you can get in high sec. It has more variety of ore, and sometimes it's a little less populated, but it can also be a good place for people to kind of target ganking and stuff like that. And I think pirate strongholds probably occur more in 0.5s than in higher securities. But if you're just starting off into mining, or you're just getting into it and you're still in the venture and everything, there's no reason really why you shouldn't be still mining in like the starter systems, the systems that the game kind of drops you in when you make your character. Those systems will have NPC stations that you'll be able to take care of a lot of stuff, and also you'll be able to do a lot of the career agent missions and everything too. And even if you're not necessarily interested in jumping straight into like barges, adding zoomers, if you want to like slow train everything, you don't really want to buy injectors, then you can also do other things too. If you really want to get good at mining, you can do like mining missions, which you can do at least the first level or so with a venture, and then as you kind of train into the other ships, you can do even more of those. I really don't recommend mining missions, because beyond just kind of the novelty of them, the ISK payout is pretty bad. But in most cases, whenever somebody's starting off in mining, I just recommend just getting out on the belt and just stockpiling as much ore as you can possibly do, and that's kind of how you make your money. In the starter systems, you're probably not going to have access to compression and things like that. I don't think there's a whole lot of player structure presence in those, but if you're working on getting into manufacturing and stuff like that, you can kind of skip that. You can just kind of drop your ore off at where you're going to be building stuff, and you just want to make sure you can reprocess where you're going to be producing stuff, because otherwise you're going to have to reprocess it in one station and then carry like the trit or the byproduct over to where you're going to be running your BPOs and stuff like that. But for what you're seeing here, I'm set up in a 0.5. I usually come in every day, do like 3 or 4 mining sessions depending on how I feel. It's either Venture or Mackinac, or I'll take the Porpoise out, or I'll bring the Hulks out and boost them. It really all kind of depends on what I'm trying to do right now. But right now we're just working on just grabbing Trit essentially to do some very, very basic manufacturing. And that process, I have that series is a member only exclusive series I'm doing on this channel, where we'll be kind of just slowly tracking the progress of solo manufacturing, starting off at NPC stations with a solo character, doing all the mining, doing the manufacturing, and then eventually putting on the market and kind of seeing how that product moves. And that's kind of the big focus right now. But to answer a few questions that I've seen kind of bouncing around the channel, one of the big ones is, and I'm still getting this one too, even like a year later after starting this series, is people coming on and saying like it's better just to work an hour or whatever at your job and you'll pay for Omega than mine for it. And the purpose of the series, in the beginning of the series, it was a challenge. It's not necessarily a recommendation. The challenge of this series when it started was to take that alpha character and mine into Omega and then maintain it, and that was the basis of the entire series. I think that over the course of like 85 episodes, and me showing like Roracle stuff and solo fleets and stuff like that, I think there's been a lot of like there's been a lot of stuff like lost in translation, so to speak. But for the most part, the initial challenge that this series offered was completed in about 45 days or so, somewhere around there, if I can remember. So the first handful of episodes were really kind of showcasing how that operates. But just in case you're watching the series and you're kind of like all into like the later episodes and stuff like that, it kind of, the whole series kind of changed over to just mainly a mining series, mining industry series and things like that. So I don't necessarily like, it depends on how much time you want to play, how much you enjoy mining. If you don't necessarily want to play multiple hours a day and you want to like do other things other than mining, then yeah, you're just probably going to be better off paying for your Omega. But there are a subset of players out there that enjoy producing their Omega through gameplay, even though they can afford it. They just rather generate that from gameplay, and that's one of the nice challenges that I still like to do and everything. A couple of the other questions I've seen on the channel aren't really necessarily mining related, but they are industry related. So a lot of it is PI stuff. I've seen some questions about do resources come back when you set up your PI colony and your extractor and everything, and you kind of deplete that area for resources. Are you required to move your extractor or your colony, or will those resources eventually come back? And they do eventually come back. All the resources will repopulate depending on where other players colonies are set up. That's kind of what determines where the density kind of moves. In most cases, if your first colony is set up really, really well on like a really nice white, the white area of the heat map, you can probably get like a week or so. It also depends on how often your extractors are pulling from the surface too. So if you're running like 24-hour cycles, then you're probably going to be like a week until you start to see a drop off on that kind of stuff. And then from there, you're gonna either, if you're really about getting min-maxing and all, you could move, but in most cases I don't move mine. I just let them kind of stabilize, and eventually the resources will come back to me and everything. Other than that, everything else is pretty much the same. But I figure this is other than that, I haven't really been doing a whole lot of anything different in terms of mining. Everything has been focusing on industry, a lot of BPO research for the other series that I've started. We'll probably get more into some variety in this series in terms of doing a little bit more. We've gotten a lot of mining equipment kind of procured at this point. I've actually got 2 orcas now. One I have rigged for drone mining, which I still like to do, even though it's, not efficient at all. And then I have the one orca who is still rigged for boosting. But I'm going to try to do some more boosting mining here in the next few weeks or so you can kind of see more of that. The porpoise is still by and far large the best you can do in terms of command ship and things. So porpoise plus hulks, porpoise plus Mac, those guys are just rock stars right now. And I still enjoy solo Mac, so you'll probably see some solo Mac this week. But obviously, if you have any questions about mining, and I can maybe go into more detail about that. It doesn't matter if you're a new player, returning player, or if you're trying to get your configuration a little bit better optimized or whatever. I can do the best I can. You can just leave a comment on any of the mining videos on the channel, and I'll do my best to answer those and subsequent episodes and everything. But thank you guys for watching this solo mining episode, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.